right, it is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the Tiffin City Council meeting of July 20th to order. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. As we gather here today, let's take a moment to acknowledge the diverse perspectives and voices that make up our city. We come from different backgrounds with different experiences and beliefs, but we share a common goal: to create a vibrant, equitable, and thriving community for all. In this chamber, may we approach our discussions with open minds, respectful dialogue, and a shared commitment to the well-being of our city. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Yes.
Ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Reesner.
Here.
Councilmember Snee.
Here.
Councilmember Doherty. Councilmember Decker.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
Councilmember Horniman.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Right. We have 6 of the 7 council members present this evening. We have minutes from July 6th for regular and committee of the whole. Any questions, corrections, deletions on those? Right. Those will stand approved as presented. We are under committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilmember Reesner.
No report, Madam President.
Anyone from the Law and Community Planning Committee have a report?
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Materials and Equipment.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilmember Decker.
No report, Madam President.
Recreation and Public Property, Councilmember Snee.
No report, Madam President.
Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers, Councilmember Hayes.
Thank you. I do have a report. A Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee meeting was held in City Chambers on July 13th, 2026. Purpose of this meeting was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation number 2026-30, a stormwater easement. Attending were committee members John Hayes, Dennis Snee, Aaron Jones, Scott Horniman, and Kevin Reesner. Also attending were Mayor Lee Wilkinson, Law Director Zachary Fowler, and City Engineer Matt Watson. Councilman Hayes called the meeting to order at 5:15 p.m. Matt Watson highlighted 2 upcoming construction projects that require the city to enter into stormwater easement agreements. The agreements move the long-term maintenance responsibility to the property owners. Reesner motion to have the law director draft legislation for authorizing the stormwater easement. Jones seconded, and the motion passed 5-0. During other business, the committee discussed potentially changing the approval process for stormwater easement requests in the future. The committee also discussed properties within the city that are in disarray, resident complaints about such properties, and how the city is addressing the problem. City administration explained the history of these kinds of problems and the steps being taken now for managing each case. Administration is exploring its legal options to discover what can help affect action to take place and help resolve issues. The findings and recommendations based on those efforts will be presented to City Council at a later date. The meeting adjourned at 5:15 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Economic Development and Downtown Planning, Councilmember Horniman.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Does anyone see the need to schedule a committee of the whole meeting? Right. We are under reports of the officers. His Honor, Mayor Lee Wilkinson.
Thank you, Madam President. So street paving for the 2026 year is almost complete. The only thing left is East Market Street and Circular Street, and then the final striping, and that should be taking place hopefully in August, or if it's according to the contractor's schedule. North Sandusky Street updates. The construction moved from Six's Corners to rebuilding Sandusky Street from Six's Corners down to Tome Street, 1 lane at a time. So watch for those detours. Right now, the northbound lane is open. It's coming south, you have to take a little detour. And then after a couple of weeks, it will switch over to the other lane. Regarding road closures, we did a little update on the city website. So if you go to the City of Tiffin website, not the Facebook page, the main website, on the left-hand side, there's a street closures and delays. And if you click on that, you should get the updated street closures and delays all laid out in a nice little spreadsheet there. So give that a try. Columbia Gas is finishing up work in the Noble Street area, and they're going to be moving to Co Street. And the Seneca County Fair is official opening this Monday, July 27th at 8 a.m. So hope to see you there. And last week I announced the CDBG Downtown Revitalization Grant. We had 3 qualifying applicants. Those initial screening applications were sent on to Kleinfelder, and now we just have to wait for their okay to get the second round of those applications done and sent to the state. And now I'd like to introduce Chief Chappell from the Fire Department to give an update with the Tiffin Fire and Rescue.
No pressure. All right. Good evening, Madam President, members of council, Mayor Wilkinson, members of the administration, and everyone joining us tonight. I did not expect to see this many people in the crowd. Thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to provide the annual report for the Tiffin Fire Rescue Division. This presentation covers much of what has taken place over approximately the last year. It has been a period of significant change for the division, particularly in the areas of staffing, scheduling, recruitment, fire inspections, and emergency operations. At the same time, one thing has remained constant. That is our commitment to protecting people who live, work, study, and visit the city of Tiffin. Our mission is simple: to protect life and property through dedicated and professional fire and emergency medical services. Although that mission has not changed, the environment in which we operate continues to change. Our call volume continues to grow. The medical needs of our community are becoming more complex. Our personnel are responding to more overlapping emergencies. And we are working also from facilities that were designed for a much different era of the fire and emergency services. Over the past year, we have made some important changes to address some of those challenges. The most visible change has been the transition to the 24-hour on, 72-hour off schedule. That change required us to reorganize the division from 3 crews to 4, promote additional officers, hire further firefighters, and revise many of our internal operations. It has been a major undertaking, but it has also positioned us to recruit and retain employees more successfully and to build a stronger organization for the future. So the first topic I would like to discuss in detail is our call volume. In 2018, the division responded on 3,085 emergency incidents. In 2025, we responded to 3,872. That represents approximately 25.5% growth over a 7-year period. That increase is not the result of just one unusual year, but it represents instead a sustained trend. Our population has not increased by 25% during that period, but the demand for our services has. There are several reasons for that. One, our population is aging. Patients are living longer with more complex medical conditions. We are seeing continued growth in the assisted living and healthcare facilities, including the expansion of the Willows of Tiffin and a new assisted living development planned for the north end of the city that is expected to house more than 200 residents. Additionally, there are the 2 universities, significant daytime employment, and many people who depend on our EMS system as their primary access point to healthcare. These are all important to our community, but they also generate a significant demand of our EMS system and fire services. The number shown for 2026 is a projection based on our current pace. While the final number may change, we are again tracking toward another very busy year. The important point here is that this is the overall workload of the division is substantially greater than it was less than a decade ago. While our total number of employees has recently increased, our daily operating staffing remains at levels comparable to those of more than 2 decades ago. We are asking roughly the same number of on-duty personnel to manage a much larger and much more complex workload than ever before. This slide shows where our incidents are occurring by ward and townships that we service. The largest continues to be the 3rd ward each year. The numbers do vary somewhat from year to year, but a general pattern you can see is relatively consistent. As mentioned, the current and planned developments will significantly affect where our future calls occur. Based on our experience with similar facilities, the assisted living development plan for the 2nd ward may add more than 100 additional emergency responses each year within that portion of the city. One important part of these statistics is they represent singular emergency responses. It's not simply individual patients or fires. A single incident may require multiple vehicles and a significant number of our personnel. A structure fire, vehicle crash, cardiac arrest, or technical rescue can quickly commit most of or all of the on-duty division. Nearly 80 times in 2025, we relied on recalls to supplement our daily staffing due to overlapping or large incidents. That is why staffing levels, good mutual aid and automatic aid contracts, and the location of our stations are so important. It's not only the total number of calls that matter, it's how frequently those calls overlap, where they're occurring, and how quickly we can place enough trained personnel at each emergency. Emergency medical services continues to be the largest part of what we do. During the past 12 months, we transported 2,293 patients. Of those, 1,096 required advanced life support care, with the remainder receiving basic life support care. Just for clarification, advanced life support can include cardiac monitoring, medication administration, airway management, treatment of serious trauma, and many other interventions that require a paramedic. In 2025, EMS-related revenue exceeded $1 million for the first time in the history of the division. That figure includes more than just ambulance billing. It also includes revenue for our contracted EMS services to Clinton Township and the northern portion of Eden Township, along with contracted medical coverage for university sports and other community events. While that revenue does not eliminate the cost of providing EMS, it does return a significant amount of money to the city and helps to offset the costs of personnel, ambulances, equipment, medications, and other supplies. We are evaluating options presently that may provide further cost savings without any additional sacrifice to levels of service. We are also now participating in the Ohio Ambulance Provider Assessment Program. Based on current estimates, that program is expected to provide more than $173,000 in additional annual revenue. That is an important opportunity for our city because it allows for us to recover additional federal Medicaid dollars without increasing the burden on our general fund. Over the past year, we have made significant improvements in medication management and tracking. We are already operating in compliance with standards that are being implemented by the Drug Enforcement Agency and by the Ohio Board of Pharmacy. This work is largely invisible to the public, but it's still essential. It improves accountability, protects controlled medications, and helps ensure the correct medications are available when our paramedics need them. One of the strengths of our city is the ability of its departments to work together towards a common goal. When departments share information, identify needs, and combine their resources, we are often able to provide services or equipment that might otherwise not be available. A recent example of that collaboration is the acquisition and deployment of LifeVac airway clearance devices throughout the community. Deputy Chief Homan has led much of that effort and is here this evening to briefly explain how the equipment was funded, where it has been placed, and how we hoped to help protect the public. I'd like to welcome in Deputy Chief Homan for that.
Oh, I don't need that. All right, I promise I will not make this drag out forever. I know sometimes Chief Chappell gets picked on about how long his speeches are, so I will make this brief, I promise. One of the benefits of doing training with outside entities is getting some, ideas and different things as far as, what other places are doing. And this is kind of where that came from. This is not a new concept, but it was kind of new to us. So some of you may have this device in your home, especially if you have kids or have had young kids. But essentially, we were doing some training, and we were going through CPR training, and it was brought up about using a different type of device that may be beneficial in lieu of doing abdominal thrusts and your traditional methods that you would think of when somebody is choking. And so there are devices out there, if those instances don't work, that can try to assist with that. This particular device is called the LifeVac. It looks kind of like a plunger that you would have in your bathroom, believe it or not, but it was designed, again, if you have an issue where we can't get something removed from somebody's airway, an adult or a child, if they are choking, and it basically acts as a suction cup in a way to try to relieve that and remove that object. Unfortunately, the only aspect that the aspect that we would have to go to if something like this didn't work is a lot more invasive, and we certainly don't want to have to go down that road. So in order to try to get these, the idea was brought up, there's been a lot of success stories with the police departments and other areas through municipalities other than just the fire and EMS service. Our police department is out and about all the time. There's been, several different police departments within 30 miles of here that have had a lot of success with being able to relieve choking with this device just by the officers being trained to use it. So was able to make contact with Chief Pauly and also spoke with Bryce Kuhn out at the Parks Department. I thought it would be a great idea to have some of these sporadically out through our parks system as well, and asked them if we could get some grant funding to buy a bunch of these if they would be interested, and they were absolutely on board. So thanks to the Tiffin Community Foundation, they gave us a grant for a little over $1,600 that you guys approved for us to accept back in March. And we were able to buy 30 of these. So we put them in all of our apparatus. We have some spares if we need them. They were, I think 10 of them were given to the police department to disperse out of their vehicles. And then Bryce has about a half a dozen that he was placing in sporadic areas of the park. We trained their staff when we did some of the staff training with CPR for the parks. Went through all that with the police department, and we'll continue to so that they know how this device is operated. So has anybody ever had any experience with one of these or have one of these at home? So if you have, you're probably familiar with it. There's a couple different manufacturers that make them. This is by far the most popular, but we are hopefully we never have to use it, but the success stories behind them is great. So we're glad to have them and appreciate the donation and the grant from the Community Foundation for that. So that's all I have. Back to you, Chief.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So although EMS represents most of our calls, fire protection remains one of our most critical responsibilities to the city. Since May of 2025, we responded to 47 fires. That includes 21 building fires, 11 of which were residential, 5 were commercial, and 5 were in fires where we provided mutual aid to another community. We also responded to 155 motor vehicle crashes and 387 false alarms. Now, while false alarms may sound minor, each one requires an emergency response until we determine that no emergency exists. During that time, personnel and apparatus are unavailable for other calls. A majority of these false alarms do occur on our college campuses. That is understandable to some degree because the campuses contain a large number of monitored buildings and have a significant number of students living in those buildings during the academic year. However, repeated false alarms still place a significant demand on our personnel and equipment. This last year, we partnered with Tiffin University to address this issue head-on, including developing informational postings intended to educate students and reduce preventable alarm activations. We appreciate their collaboration and to ensure everybody's safety. For note, our average response time to fire incidents was a mere 4 minutes and 42 seconds. That is a strong response time considering turnout time and driving to the location, but getting to that scene is only the first part of the equation. The next part is determining how many personnel can arrive to perform all the necessary tasks safely. Not being a large metropolitan community, it is impossible for us to commit 4 engines, 2 ladder trucks, several ambulances, and more than 40 personnel immediately to a scene. Often we have 1 engine, 1 ladder truck, an ambulance, and hopefully 8 to 12 firefighters. Everyone is needed to play an important role at these scenes, and our personnel do a fantastic job of it. Through our experience and training, the community never knows the difference. This is an all too often overlooked part of the work we do every single day. Staffing has been one of the most substantial issues facing the division for the last 12 years. For many of these years, we experienced difficulty recruiting and retaining firefighters. Hiring lists that once contained many qualified candidates had sometimes fallen to only 4 or maybe 5 names. It was becoming normal to have a civil service meeting to approve 2 to 3 hiring lists every year, a stark comparison to when a hiring list would stand for the full 2 years. A department had essentially become a stepping stone for those interested more in developing a resume only to eventually work elsewhere rather than those looking to build a career with us. A major goal that I have had as chief is to improve the salary and benefits to our personnel. We may never compete with some larger cities on pay, but we have other benefits to consider. The recent transition to the 24 on, 72 off schedule is intended to be a significant way to address that problem. A normal 40-hour per week employee is paid for 2,080 hours of work per year. When our firefighters were on a 24/48 schedule, they were working 2,704 hours per year. With an average starting salary of less than $56,500 per year, our personnel were making the equivalent of less than $21 per hour. That's not much when you consider the amount of training required to be a firefighter and a paramedic, the working of nights, weekends, holidays, and kids' birthdays, all for a job that you risk your life doing every single shift. This new schedule increased the hourly rate and the time away from work, allowing for more days off to recharge your battery, spend time with your family, or doing hobbies. It ties directly into what I've been building as a part of our mental health and well-being efforts. To implement the new schedule, the division moved from 3 crews to 4. We also transitioned from crews of 12 employees to crews of 10. Through give and take from both sides of the negotiation table, the administration authorized 4 additional firefighter positions to build around this new structure. You, as city council members, approved legislation that will eventually allow for us to grow back to crews of 11 firefighters. In the interim, we must carefully be evaluating the benefits and costs of this new schedule. It is very fair to say that the new schedule has already had a major impact on our recruitment. Our most recent hiring campaign produced 41 applicants, the most we've had in over 15 years. 7 of them have also been lateral hires, meaning that they have worked for more than 1 year as a full-time firefighter in another city, and now they're looking to come here to work in Tiffin. This is a dramatic improvement compared with the small candidate pools we had been seeing. The schedule alone will not solve every staffing challenge, but has given us a strategic advantage that many fire departments have not yet adopted. I would like to thank the administration and the leadership of Local 322 for their combined effort to make this a reality. The transition to 4 crews required us to promote additional officers. Captain Andrew Brose and Captain Jason Manchin were promoted to help provide the leadership necessary for the new organizational structure. We also promoted Lieutenant Isaac Heiser, Bill Hoffert, Josh Majors, and Nick Goshi. Promotions in the fire service involve much more than receiving just a new title. Company officers are responsible for the safety and performance of their crews. They make critical decisions during fires, medical emergencies, crashes, and technical rescues. They are also responsible for daily training, station operations, employee development, documentation, and equipment readiness. These officers have accepted a significant amount of responsibility, and I appreciate their willingness to step into those roles. I've also reorganized and better defined officer responsibilities to provide clear oversight of training, facilities, fleet maintenance, health and safety, supplies, communications, EMS, recruitment, and retention. Through evaluation of each company officer's knowledge, skills, and abilities, I feel we have the right people performing the tasks they are best suited to do for the division. That structure should improve accountability and distribute work more effectively throughout the division. The staffing changes also required a substantial amount of hiring. Over the past year, we welcomed Chris Lewis, Jake Leonard, Adam Kreider, Marcus Fagan, Nick Kalb, Victor Foss, Tyler Frudner, and Braden Heminger. Firefighter medics Fagan and Kalb are both lateral hires, bringing with them full-time experience to Tiffin. We also very recently hired firefighter medics Kevin Fanley and Nick Ezzy, who are both also lateral hires. This now has filled our current budgeted roster of 40 firefighters. 15 of our 40 firefighters are new since January of 2025. Bringing in this many new employees in a relatively short period of time is a major organizational change and even a little bit of a challenge. Each employee must become familiar with our apparatus, equipment, medical protocols, streets, buildings, procedures, and expectations. They also have to learn how to operate effectively as a crew. Our experienced firefighters and officers have spent a significant amount of time helping these employees develop. Recruitment receives much of the attention, but onboarding and retention are equally important. Hiring an employee only helps the organization if we provide that person with training, leadership, equipment, and support, the support needed to build a strong long-term career. I believe the new schedule, improved hiring process, and clear organizational structure are helping us do just that. I'd also like to recognize Jackson Halfhill, Samuel Allen, and Don Henney for obtaining their paramedic certification. Firefighter medics Halfhill and Henney were also new to our department in June of 2025, but enrolled in paramedic school at that time. Paramedic training is demanding. It requires hundreds of hours of classroom instruction, hospital and ambulance clinical experience, skills testing, and preparation for the National Registry Certification Examination. These employees completed that work while continuing to perform their regular duties with the division. They certainly deserve all the proper recognition for it. Increasing the number of paramedics improves our ability to staff advanced life support ambulances and maintain that capability across all 4 crews. That is especially important because nearly 90% of our emergency activity is related to EMS. I'm happy to report that 32 of our 40 firefighters are currently certified as paramedics. 2 are in school right now, and 5 others will be or have enrolled in the training. Mobile food vehicles. This is the first full year operating under the city's updated ordinances for mobile food preparation vehicles. I would like to thank council for their attention to developing solid language for the revisions to the ordinance. These businesses have become very popular and are an important part of festivals, community events, and even private gatherings. The purpose of the ordinance is not to make it difficult to operate a food truck. The purpose is to identify hazards before an employee, customer, or bystander could be injured. The licensing and inspection process also creates consistent expectations for everyone. Operators who invest in maintaining safe equipment should not be placed at a disadvantage compared to those who do not. As you know, these mobile kitchens come in all shapes and sizes, from retrofitted campers, trailers, and RVs to specifically designed units that are custom built. Many of these vehicles use propane, cooking oils, open flames, generators, electrical systems, and commercial cooking equipment in a very small space. There's minimal difference between the food preparation and cooking area in these vehicles and that of a brick and mortar restaurant. That is why the fire code regards them effectively the same way. During our inspections, we have found several significant safety issues. What you see in this picture is a propane gas line whose polymer jacket has been deteriorated over time from the unshielded flame above it. What appears to be dirt on the flat surface underneath the gas line is what remains of that protective layer. By exposing the inner wall, it may lead to corrosion, heat damage, and further deterioration of that propane line. At the time this was discovered, this vehicle had not been inspected by us, was unlicensed, and parked between the 2 main entrances of Walmart, illegally in the fire lane. Had a failure of that gas line happened, it may have killed or injured the family who was to be operating within it and any of their customers or people near the vehicle. Additionally, it is very likely the front of the building would have been significantly damaged, probably resulting in the closure of the store until it could be repaired. In the end, the vendor was very appreciative that Deputy Chief Holman had discovered the issue, and they worked to get that addressed promptly. They did not cook that day. I'm happy to report that as of today, we have 34 licensed mobile food vehicles able to operate within the city of Tiffin. This would not be the case if it were not for the combined efforts of Deputy Chief Holman and our administrative assistant, Amanda Hannum. They are continuously fielding questions and maybe even the occasional complaint about the process. In the end, we know that the mobile food preparation vehicles operating within Tiffin are reasonably safe for the public to enjoy. Our facilities remain one of the most important long-term issues facing the division. Since the 1960s, right after Station 2 was rebuilt, discussions ensued about the need for a fire station on the west end. 60 years later, we're still talking about it. We have failed to accordingly plan for new and updated fire stations, even though they are critical pieces of our city's infrastructure. Items like the EPA mandated long-term control plan and other projects have exacerbated the issue by causing capital dollars to be spent earlier than expected. The size and weight of our apparatus have increased significantly. The amount of required equipment has also increased. Modern stations also need space for contamination control, turnout gear, medical supplies, fitness, training, secure medication storage, separate sleeping accommodations, and appropriate living facilities for a diverse workforce. Neither of our stations were designed with those in mind. We have reached what some might call a crossroads, but definitely an inflection point where neither fire station meets our operational needs. We need to develop a plan before the plan is made for us. In this image, Fire Station 2 was constructed in 1906 using salvaged materials from 2 even older stations. At that time, it housed 4 firefighters, 2 horses, and a hose cart, which I have to understand must have had 2 horsepower. Around 1917, a motorized fire truck was placed in that station. If you look closely, you can see the vehicle parked and facing outwards towards what is 2nd Avenue. Also to the front of the building, you may notice the 2 firefighters sitting outside facing Washington Street. Eventually, the building could no longer adequately support the weight and needs of modern fire apparatus, a problem eerily similar to what we are faced with at our downtown station today. In 1965, City Council approved the building of the current station pictured on the screen. Today, Station 2 houses 3 or 4 firefighters, a 75-foot ladder truck, a reserve fire engine, an ambulance, but no horses. The building has now served the city and our department for 60 years. The photographs on the next 2 slides illustrate several of the challenges we are facing, specifically at Station 2. As you can tell, the apparatus are parked tight to the overhead bay doors at the front and back of the station. We keep an ambulance parked facing Washington Street with the reserve engine backed up to it. That engine leaves through the rear bay door, which faces west. Our 75-foot Quint ladder truck is parked next to the ambulance and also faces Washington Street. When personnel need to get to the opposite side of the station, they must either sidestep between the front ambulance bumper and the bay door, or between the rear bumpers of the ambulance and engine. As you can see, the ladder rack on the back of Engine 2 is precariously close to the back of Medic 23. There's minimal room for personnel to move equipment or their turnout gear through this opening. Football may be a game of inches, but it has nothing on us. Several months ago, I began a conversation with local architectural firm McCall Sharp Genet. We determined that building a 16-foot addition on the rear of the existing fire station would provide the much-needed space we need for our personnel and apparatus. That work does not build a new station or solve every long-term issue, but it does buy us some time. Consequently, we have fallen behind on our vehicle replacement schedule. Engine 1, housed at Station 1, is now 10 years old. Normally, it would become a reserve apparatus and be moved to Station 2. The 21-year-old Engine 2 should have been sold, but instead we spent $55,000 on repairs for it last year. The primary issue is that Engine 1 has a larger wheelbase and will not fit where Engine 2 sits today. This will cause Engine 1 to sustain additional wear and tear and likely result in it not lasting for the 20 years we attempt to get from an engine. This plan provides the needed improvements that would allow for us to use Station 2 more safely and effectively today and for the immediate future. A plan for new and replacement stations is still necessary. A fire station is a major investment and will require long-term planning from all levels of city government. Based on current construction costs and the needs of a modern fire and EMS facility, a new station could cost approximately $12 million. By building this addition, we address some of our immediate needs for an estimated cost of approximately $250,000. Just as the city plans for other future development, we need to ensure that our facilities are positioned and designed to serve the community for the next 50 to 100 years, rather than simply just address today's problems. As we look ahead, our first goal is to continue providing the high level of service that our residents, businesses, visitors, and institutions expect. We will also begin consolidating electronic platforms. Like many public safety agencies, we use a growing number of software solutions for things like staffing, reporting, medication tracking, vehicle checks, inspections, training, scheduling, and inventory. When those systems don't communicate with each other, our administration and personnel waste time entering the same information into multiple locations. Our goal is to simplify these processes, improve accuracy, and return more time for training, readiness, and emergency response. Facilities will, of course, remain a major priority. we need to complete the most important improvements at Station 2 while continuing the broader discussion about the future of our fire stations. We continue evaluating the new work schedule and its effect on recruitment, retention, overtime, employee wellness, and emergency response. We also intend to continue strengthening recruitment and working towards the additional staffing needed to fully support the 4-crew model. Great strides have already begun with developing our company officers. Much of this work is administrative in nature. Doing so improves internal accountability and expands our ability to provide efficient emergency response. Being a bit of an Excel geek, some of my happiest moments are when I am told, Chief, we created a spreadsheet for that. It just warms my heart. So this past year involved a great deal of change. Change is rarely easy, particularly in an organization that operates 24 hours a day. I am proud of the way our employees have handled all that work. They continued responding to emergencies, completed training, maintained equipment, completed hundreds of inspections, and served the community while adapting to a new schedule, being on new crews with new company officers, many new employees, and also new responsibilities. I want to thank City Council, the mayor, the city administrator, and the other city departments that have supported these efforts. Many of the improvements discussed tonight could not have been possible without that cooperation. Most importantly, I want to thank the men and women of the Tiffin Fire Rescue Division. They serve this community professionally, compassionately, and often under the most difficult of circumstances. So with that, thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
There.
Thank you, Chief. That was very enlightening. I do appreciate like everything that you've gone through, because I know you go to work for your crews. You want the best for them, but you also want the best for the community.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate all the work that you do there. But there is one thing you forgot to mention in this entire thing, is the outstanding community engagement that all of the firefighters have with the city of Tiffin in putting on the Youth Fire Academy and interacting with the students at the schools and participating in the community events in like Touch a Truck and everything else that goes on. So I appreciate all that too. That makes a big difference as well.
Yes, absolutely. Very big proponent of having the firefighters out in the community, engaging with the public. And it's for some of you maybe saw that we had some puppies by the fire station the other day. I'm not really sure who enjoyed that more, if it was the puppies or us, but it was a good opportunity for us to work with the Humane Society to create that awareness of their needs. And it was nice to take a couple minutes away and de-stress a little bit too.
Yeah, very good.
Robert Reister.
Yeah, thanks for the good presentation, Chief.
Sure.
Lithium-ion batteries. I seen one slide up there with the garbage truck and Summit Street. Could you give us kind of the public a reminder on lithium-ion batteries and proper disposal?
Certainly. Yeah. So lithium-ion batteries are becoming more and more commonplace every day, all the way from your cell phone and your smartwatches up into vehicles, power tools. Everything seems to be powered by a lithium-ion battery. There are local resources to dispose of those batteries when they are bad. You can go to Lowe's. They have a drop box right by the customer service desk. That's probably the easiest place to have those recycled. But the worst thing to do is just throw them out with your regular household trash. As they get compacted into the trash haulers, a lot of times those cells will rupture, and it creates what they refer to as a thermal runaway, where the battery becomes very hot. It spreads to the other cells within it, and water is not the best suited means of putting those fires out. Usually time is the best way to get them put out. You just let it keep burning until there's nothing left to burn. And that's what was in that picture with the Rumpke truck, we believe had happened.
Any other questions or comments for Chief Chappell?
I have a question.
Yes.
Thanks for being here and giving the presentation. At the time and now, it seemed like the 2472 was just a home run, and I've talked to a few members of the staff, and they've been enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
What have been the challenges now that it's implemented and you've had a few months on that? Or what do you maybe foresee of being a challenge? Because the benefits as described, make sense, but I'm sure there's day-to-day stuff that you could maybe speak on.
Sure. Probably one of the biggest challenges is going from the 3 crews of 12 to the 4 crews of 10. It did require us to at least temporarily decrease our minimum manning to 8 from 9. And it's easy to sit back and think, well, it's just one person. How important could that be? But it really is kind of an integral part of our operations to have 9 people as a minimum on duty. We're working to try and get back to that, and I feel confident that we will in the very near future. So that was a part of it. With so many new hires joining the division last year, and then knowing that we were going to have to hire even more people this year to fill in these positions, we just had a retirement, so that was an additional one there. It's just a lot of brand new people. As I said, 15 of our 40 firefighters have been here for less than a year and a half now. And that's kind of a scary thing. The fire service prides itself on always knowing every little corner of its city and its response district. And with that many new people, it's just a ton of information for them to pick up on and be able to implement and act on quickly at an emergency scene. We don't always have the luxury of sitting back and reviewing the playbook before we go to work. But we're getting there. We have some fantastic people that are committed to developing all of these new hires, and we're going to get there. So there might be a couple little bumps along the road, but I'm confident we have some fantastic people that we've hired in, and especially with some of the lateral hires that have joined, they're bringing their own experience from other departments and ideas that they maybe had at their department that's going to help to make us an even better fire division for the community.
Thanks.
Certainly.
Thank you, Chief and Deputy Chief. I appreciate you guys coming tonight and all the information that you shared. So it's very helpful.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else, Mayor?
No, Madam President, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Clerk of Council, Ann Forrest.
Nothing to report, Madam President.
Okay, Director of Finance, Jill Lindhorst.
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a request for legislation tonight, F26-16, to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance 25-98. This is to appropriate $138,000 to the Combined Sewer Separation Fund for additional flow monitoring and data analysis for the Schonhart and Main Street areas. I'm also requesting council approve a transfer from the Sewer WPCC Fund 552 to Fund 557, the Combined Sewer Separation Fund of $138,000. I also have the June 30th, 2026 Director of Finance report. The total receipts for the month, $4,810,545.57. Total expenses for the month, $6,231,450.01. The general fund unencumbered balance was $5,556,232.08. The income tax receipts for June 2026 were $1,389,795.74. The total increase in income tax receipts in June 2026 compared to June 2025 is $60,810.68. Year-to-date income tax receipts are down 1.74%. The 1/4% portion of income tax receipts that was transferred into Fund 215 for public streets for June 2026 is $169,082.71. The portion of income tax receipts that was transferred into Fund 331 for capital improvements for June 2026 is $122,071.30. The unexpended balance for all funds is $44,401,384.34, which is the same as the bank balances for the same time period. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Reister.
Thank you, Madam President. Also, before I make the motion now, I'd like to commend you on the good work on the audit recently.
Thank you.
And I move to approve the the Finance Director's report, month ending June 30th, 2026, and bank reconciliation.
Thank you. There's a motion to accept the Finance Director's report and bank reconciliation for the month of June. Is there a second? Councilmember
I'll second that
Hardeman?
motion, Madam President.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And Director of Law, Zach Fowler.
No report, Madam President.
All right, that takes us to written communications.
We have mayor's request for legislation number 26-31, authorization for acquisition and acceptance of sewer easements and execution of related documents.
Thank you. Mayor's request for legislation number 26-31 is referred to the Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-32, establishment of the All Patriots Memorial Committee.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-32 is referred to the Recreation and Public Property Committee.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-33, authorization to enter into an option agreement with AFLP LLC for the purchase of Lot 4 Eagle Rock North Subdivision with further authorization to sell said property if option is exercised.
Thank you. Mayor's request for legislation number 26-33 is also referred to the Recreation and Public Property Committee.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-16 to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance number 25-98 to transfer and appropriate funds into the Combined Sewer Separation Fund.
Thank you. Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-16 is prepared this evening as ordinance 26-50.
And that concludes the written communications.
Thank you. We are now under oral communications. So anyone wishing to address council may step in, sign in, step to the podium, sign in, and direct their questions to myself. I will ask that given the amount of people and in order to accommodate our agenda, if we can just keep the commentary to about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Anna Fleckner, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm here this evening to speak about a proposed annexation of approximately 149 acres of Hopewell Township into the city of Tiffin and how this decision will affect our family, our neighbors, and the community. My husband Tom and I live with our 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son at West State Route 18 at the intersection of US Route 224. Our home is more than a piece of property. It has been in our family for over 40 years. Our children are the 3rd generation of Fleckners to live there. We are proud to call Hopewell Township home. Our children attend Hopewell Loudon schools. We support our local community, and our family's roots are here. This is where we have built our lives. We have never sought to become residents of the city of Tiffin, and we are here tonight because we want to better understand why the city is supporting actions that could permanently change where our family lives. Our involvement in this annexation process began when Mayor Lee Wilkinson came to our home to discuss a 2-decade-old sewer agreement that runs with our property. During that visit, he informed us that Lenny Klaus, through his company, Development Solutions LLC, was pursuing an annexation of approximately 149 acres into the city of Tiffin. The proposed annexation includes our family's home, Mr. Klaus's farmland behind our house, the commercial property next to us, and the medical offices on US Route 224. We were told that because of that sewer agreement, we would be required to sign the annexation petition or risk losing sewer service to our home. We signed one petition because we believed we had no choice. Fortunately for us, the medical offices declined to sign, so a new petition must now be circulated. The commercial property owners who are out-of-town developers have already signed. And once again, our family is being asked to do the same. Most concerning was last Monday when the law director gave us a 1 day's notice to decide whether or not to sign the new annexation petition, or the city would begin pursuing legal action against us for failing to sign the petition initiated by Development Solutions LLC, Mr. Klaus's privately owned company. Regardless of the legal arguments involved, this is an extraordinary position for our family to be placed in. Our concern is not simply with the annexation itself. Our concern is the lack of transparency surrounding why it is happening. The annexation being pursued is a Type 1 expedited annexation under Ohio law. This process allows the annexation to move forward without a hearing before the county commissioners and provides no opportunity for the neighboring property owners to object or appeal. One of the hardest parts is knowing how it will affect our neighbors. We do not want to let them down. Many of them are only aware of the proposed annexation because we went door to door to tell them. Without those conversations, many of the families most affected by this decision would not have known it was happening. We attended a township trustee meeting last Monday where we learned they were also unaware of the proposed annexation. We have repeatedly asked what the plan is for this property and have been told there is no development plan. If this is true, why is the annexation necessary now? More than a year ago, a map prepared by the City of Tiffin Engineering Department depicted proposed light and heavy industrial zoning for Mr. Klaus's property before it had even been annexed. If there was no development plan, why were future zoning maps already being prepared? This is particularly concerning because Mr. Klaus previously petitioned to have this property rezoned for industrial use and received significant opposition from the surrounding community and neighbors. Many of the neighboring properties, most of them families living in their homes, opposed that request. Those concerns have not disappeared. We understand that communities grow and development can be part of the future. We are not opposing growth. We are simply asking that this process be more open, transparent, and honest with the residents whose homes, properties, and communities are directly affected. People deserve to understand the vision before they're being asked to give up their township residency and become part of the city. Our family has been placed in an incredibly difficult position. We do not want to lose our home because of lack of sewer service, but we also do not believe families should be forced into annexation that they do not want without understanding why it is necessary or what the long-term plan is. Tonight, I respectfully ask the City Council to provide the transparency that has been missing and answer a few questions. Was Mayor Lee Wilkinson acting on behalf of the city or assisting Development Solutions LLC and Lenny Klaus when he came to our home? What city resources are being used to support this privately initiated annexation? When did the city first become involved in discussions regarding this annexation? Has the council been fully informed of these discussions regarding the future of this property? If there is no development plan, why were future zoning maps prepared before the property was annexed? How many neighboring families will ultimately be affected? And has the city considered their concerns when a Type 1 expedited annexation gives them little to no opportunity to object or appeal? Our family is asking for openness, transparency, and answers, not only for ourselves, but our neighbors as well. Many of them would not have known that this annexation is taking place had we not gone door to door to tell them. I hope the city will answer these questions before asking my family to accept permanent changes to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, you said your name is Anna, is that correct? Yeah.
Anna, yes.
Great. So I can't certainly answer, all of your questions, but what I can tell you is there's nothing in front of council that we're voting on. There's no legislation prepared or anything like that for an annexation. So I do just want to clarify that as far as, that's not any sort of action that we're taking. But I know several of your questions were more regarding some of the process and things like that. I don't know if you want to comment on those, Mayor, tonight, or we're happy if you want to send your questions to us, we can answer them via email if that makes sense, but certainly welcome to approach this how we
I'd be happy
think is best.
to address it a little bit.
Sure.
So in the city of Tiffin right now, we are nearing the end of the property that we have that is developable for industry and manufacturing out at Eagle Rock and North Star Industrial Parks. Lenny Klaus did come to the city and proposed bringing that property into the city. Because of the way our property is situated now and the willingness or the desire to grow our industrial base and manufacturing and provide those jobs that we felt that it was a good idea. So the city thought that it was a good idea. I got behind it. It wasn't for any particular industry that is coming. It was just an idea that would help us in the future be ready for expansion. So that was the idea. It wasn't, we're not being pushed to make room for any particular industry, any particular manufacturing or anything like that. We're just trying to prepare for expansion and keep the city of Tiffin growing.
I believe it's 33 homes that neighbor that property.
Mhm.
So I don't know that that would be the best area to put an industrial park in, be surrounding all of our homes. Has been opposed previously.
Well, can I just read you a little bit about the proposed zoning for that?
Yeah.
And then I actually will have to learn from the law director about when the city does annex, because this was my first experience with annexing any property or attempting to, if that has to be zoned prior to annexation, or I don't know what the process is there. But I do know that the process had been outlined by the law director, and we're just on step one, basically, which is trying to get approvals from everyone before we know it's even possible. Okay? So we're not to the step yet that would require 60 days waiting period and public hearings. We're not even to that step yet. So we're not trying to keep it a secret. We're just very early in the process. I know it seemed like it's been a year, and it has, right? It's a slow, long process. But on that map that you had, somebody sent me an email, that map,
I have a copy.
who was that? Yeah, earlier today. And so that yellow part behind the houses there along 18,
Yes.
that's proposed M1 light. So let me just read you what it says. The purpose of the M1 Light Industrial District is to encourage the development of manufacturing, wholesale business establishments, and research activities which are clean, quiet, and free of hazardous or objectionable elements such as noise, odor, dust, smoke, or glare, and operate entirely within the enclosed structures and generate little industrial traffic. That's the description of that proposed zoning.
And then the heavy.
So the heavy industrial, that was the part that was more separated from the homes. Okay, let's see if I can. Let's see, M1A, SAT M2, M2. Oh, there it is. I was looking for my next page here. M2. The purpose of the M2 Heavy Industrial District is to encourage the development of major manufacturing, processing, warehousing, major research, testing operations. These activities require extensive community facilities and reasonable access to arterial thoroughfares. And that was the part that was behind the Northwest Orthopedics and to the west.
My map here that's still bordering 7 or 8 family homes. Does the city have, I guess, plans to pursue legal action against my husband and I while we explore our options before we sign this annexation?
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing 7 or 8 adjoining properties.
Diamond here, 1 across the street, 2, 3, 4, 5 next to it, 6, and the home over here would make 7. Is a different map than I was provided.
No, I don't think so.
That's a home. That's a home. There's a home right here. Next to it. Next to it. Next to it.
to look at the requirements on the setbacks. But what was the next question?
I guess after hearing the fire chief speak, it seems that that end of town also would need a new fire station to support expanding, but
Possibly, we've been looking at
that's
that.
just
We've been looking at that for some
based
time.
on
Yes.
what he had said today. I do have copies of concerns from other residents that have voiced their concerns that if you would like. I'd love
Absolutely.
to hand out to those to you, as well as my husband and I's contact information.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love
I'll
to.
leave that up here.
That would be perfect. Yeah, we could circulate those and
You want to read yours? It's up to you.
Certainly can.
Okay. It's right here for you.
This was just recently, I'm Lindsay Parkins. This was just recently brought to our attention. We live very close. There's about maybe a half-acre strip in between the area in question and our home. So it's come to our attention that there's a proposed expedited type 1 annexation for property very near, although not directly adjacent to ours. This property was once part of the Golden Acre Turkey Farm. We've lived in this farm for 22 years. Golden Acre Farm has a deep-rooted history here in Seneca County, and none of that deep-rooted history involves light or heavy industrial use. Though we may not have the right to sign nor appeal its process and the end result, we feel we do have a right to voice our concern for the future use of this property. The city's future land use map refers to much of this property as light and heavy industrial use. This itself is an enormous concern for our family and should be a notable concern for all nearby residents. Although with industrial use comes chemical processing, along with industrial use comes chemical processing, increased pollution, the addition of massive structures, disturbed wildlife and water, smoke, odor, additional heavy traffic, which requires additional necessary roadways, which requires additional environmental and airborne waste concerns. I could go on and on. I urge the city to think of more than the bottom line. Additional tax revenue is not necessarily what is best for our society. I hope to be able to continue to look out my kitchen window and see the groups of deer gathering in the field, the bald eagles feeding on last night's raccoon carcass, the rabbits playfully frolicking in the weeds. We're not opposed to growth when done responsibly and fairly. And this annexation does not seem like either. As a group, we don't want to be just a feather in a millionaire's hat, something that he has, his conquest. So please take all of our opinions into consideration. We all feel very strongly about it, and I think we deserve to be heard.
yeah, would you mind, I'm sorry, Lindsay, would you mind just signing in on the,
Yes,
thank you so
absolutely.
much. No, that's okay. Yeah, certainly we'll circulate the concerns that are left up there, and I appreciate you coming to council and voicing these to us as we work through this process. That's something that's very important to us is your feedback and ensuring that you are heard. So appreciate it. Does anyone else have anything they would like to raise to council this evening? Okay.
I'll speak.
Sure.
Hi, my name's Corey Showman. I live at the adjacent property. Like my colleagues have said, or my neighbors have said, we're not opposed to growth. We're not opposed to tax revenue and things like that come to the city. Everybody wants growth. But in the past 5 years, we had 3 companies leave Tiffin right after tax abatements. So we're going to pay for somebody else to get a millions of dollar tax abatement to go out of this area and go to a corporate entity somewhere else. The first proposed one that we know was the plastics company, or that's what Lenny wanted to build for. And I think they're hiring at $16 an hour. They have like 140 employees. That's like 80 grand to the city. So if that plan would have went initially, first off, when I went to Tiffin and when I went to the county, but that annexation for that kind of plant, low employee numbers, low pay, in the end, 80-some thousand, maybe 100 grand, while the tax abatement saves somebody else millions and millions of dollars to go somewhere else. So I think it's just, needs to be thought about more. And I know that the nice little, light industrial backing neighbors' properties, maybe it's used for parking lot for the factories. That's a nice way of putting it, to say, well, it's not going to be, right next to your guys' property. You get fancy with the maps and things like that. So for what it's worth, I just think there needs to be more conversation about it, more thought process. Zero abatement if any industrial plant goes in there, and bring millions and millions of dollars to Tiffin. Sure, but I don't think that's the strategy, and I don't think it's going to work. So I just think more conversation, more thought process of what's actually going to go on with this land, because it's just kind of frustrating to see big corporations come in and year 16, oh wow, another company magically goes bankrupt. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Does anyone else have anything they would like to share with council? Again, I very much appreciate you all coming. I know this is probably not your ideal Monday night, so thank you for taking the time and sharing your concerns and thoughts with us. All right. We are under motions. Councilmember Hayes.
Yes, I'd like to motion for ordinance 26-43 to be tabled.
Thank you. There is a motion for ordinance 26-43 to be tabled. Is there a second? Councilmember Jones?
I'll second that motion, Madam President.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Hayes.
Yes, this is related to a notice that went out as we were told last Thursday, and it needs 14 days of that from that notice before it can be passed. So I think the idea is to table it today and vote on it the next council meeting.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Motion carries. Thank you. We are under resolutions and ordinances.
Resolution number 2026-47, introduced by John Hayes. A resolution approving and adopting the use of federal fund policies for the city of Tiffin and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of resolution 26-47.
Ordinance number 2026-46, introduced by Ashley Decker. An ordinance repealing section 143-07 of the codified ordinances of the city of Tiffin, Ohio, eliminating the fire rescue division residency requirement and renumbering the remaining sections of chapter 143 accordingly.
This is the second reading of ordinance 26-46.
Ordinance number 2026-49, introduced by John Hayes. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate, accept, and enter into permanent stormwater easements from TH Plastics Incorporated and the Diocese of Toledo Properties Trust.
Thank you. This is the first reading of ordinance 26-49. Councilmember Hayes.
Yes, I'd like to motion for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-49, suspending council's 3 reading rule.
Thank you. There is a motion for suspension of council's 3 reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 26-49. Is there a second? Councilmember Reister.
I'll second, Madam President.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Hayes.
Yes, these are post-construction maintenance agreements. It just passes the maintenance responsibility onto the property owner.
Thank you. All right, we will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes with a vote of 6-0. We'll now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 26-49 passes with a vote of 6-0.
Ordinance number 2026-50, introduced by Kevin Reesner. An ordinance amending the 2026 budget ordinance 2025-98 to transfer and appropriate funds to the combined sewer separation fund and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 26-50. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-50, suspending City Council's reading rule.
Thank you. There's a motion for suspension of council's 3 reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 26-50. Is there a second? Councilmember Stay.
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Reesner.
This is to appropriate $138,000 of the combined sewer separation fund for additional flow monitoring and data analysis for the Sean Hart and Main Street areas, and to transfer funds from the sewer WPCC Fund 552 to 557, combined sewer separation fund in the amount of $138,000.
Thank you. We will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes with a vote of 6-0. We'll now vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes with a vote of 6-0. We'll now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 26-50 passes with a vote of 6-0.
And that concludes the legislation, Madam President.
Thank you. We are now under other business. City Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Council President. So I had sent City Council members some information about Rumpke on their collections thus far for the year. I do try to update everyone about twice a year, give or take, on the collections numbers that Rumpke does. So for the months of January through June of this past year, in municipal solid waste that is just trash, collected about 2,981.51 tons of garbage. In recycling, 428.26 tons. To compare that to last year, last year's numbers for this time, 2,809.04 tons in municipal solid waste and 462.5 in recycling. I believe that Councilman Reesner, you did share with me, you noticed those numbers have kind of gone in the opposite direction. So more collected in municipal solid waste for the past 6 months in comparison to last year at this time, in comparison to recycling. The cleanup that they did in June, 137.13 tons in just that 1 week, in that bulk pickup week for this year. That was compared to 162.64. So I guess people were cleaning out the garage just a little bit more last year. Overall, for 2025, Rumpke collected 5,770.24 tons of trash and 878.29 tons of recyclables for the combined 2025 year. So I will most likely give you an update when we come to January or early February next year when we get those numbers for the entire year. But I wanted to make sure we provided that to City Council and to the public.
Thank you. Anything else for other business? Councilmember Stay.
Yes, Madam President, thank you. Okay, for the recreation and public property, let's deal with request for legislation 2632 and 2633. There will be a committee meeting for the public, but this coming Monday, 7/27/26, here at the council chambers at 5:15 p.m. And any other business that may come before them.
Thank you. Councilmember Hayes.
Yes, I'd like to announce a Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting immediately following the Recreation and Public Property meeting next Monday. We will be discussing mayor's request for legislation 26-31 and any other business that comes before us.
Perfect, thank you. Mayor.
Councilman Hayes, if you think that Matt Watson would be instrumental at being at that meeting, then we should let him know as soon as possible.
Okay.
He did mention it to me that getting into this season, he finds the evening work a little bit more difficult to get away sometimes.
Yeah, for this one in particular, was this just almost like a meta, for the future, or these?
Yes.
This is about a particular project.
No, this is this particular request for legislation is meta, it's all encompassing.
Okay.
So it's not about a particular project.
Okay.
We kind of discussed it at the last committee meeting.
Correct. I don't know if it does not fit his schedule. If he couldn't be there, I think we maybe could listen to your thoughts and decide as a committee, because I think we did have a lengthy discussion about it last time. But yeah, if he is unavailable, we need to reschedule. Please let me know right away.
Yeah,
please.
I don't think Matt's presence is required. I don't think he's available that night, but I don't think you need him there to.
I agree. If we're just kind of talking
discussion.
about future legislation, this is not project specific. I think we could manage between us.
Councilmember Snee.
Yeah, Madam President. I just want to give a little bit of dialogue. The first request for legislation, it deals with the establishment of the All Patriots Memorial Committee. And I'm pretty excited about that one, really. And the second one, 2633, deals with the authorization to enter into an option agreement with AFLP LLC.
Thank you. Anything else for council this evening? Law Director.
Just to those who came tonight, just to help you along in this process, just a few things that I think you all should be aware of. Whenever the annexation is brought, the petition is signed and brought to the county commissioners, by law, because it's an expedited, there's multiple types of expedited, but regardless of the type, they are required by law to approve that petition. What happens after that is they will deliver that to the clerk of council. At our next council meeting, she'll announce that she's received it and it'll be placed on the table for 60 days. Again, that's by law. After that time, it will come before council on whether to approve the annexation or not. They can accept it or reject it. At that time, we will also run concurrently with it the proposed zoning for that property, and that comes before both council and the city planning commission. There will be public hearings. There's a joint public hearing with the planning commission and council on the zoning, and then the planning commission will have its hearing after that to further consider the zoning, and then they will make recommendations back to council, and then the legislation to approve that zoning and the annexation will then continue on. When the zoning piece happens, you actually will get notified by the city. Anyone that's these adjacent neighbors, you will get notice. So that will happen. You will have a chance when the time's appropriate, when the matter's actually before council, to come and talk to council, talk to the planning commission, and give your input at that time. And council still will then at that time make a decision on the annexation itself. So you're certainly welcome to come at any point and voice your concerns, but those are times where it's relevant to council to hear your concerns over both annexation and the zoning. Can't tell you when, that all depends on when the petition gets turned in, if one does. But until that time, council's really not involved until that comes up. So hopefully that helps you all. Keep an eye on your mailboxes, and at some point you may get a notice from the city for the zoning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for council this evening? All right. Well, thank you all. We can adjourn. Appreciate, again, you guys all coming.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
See you next week. Enjoy your trip.
Yep.